And I wonder if Stephen King knows who Richard Matheson is. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows?
Something that love to kill.
All right, let's talk about The Monkey, the new movie written for the screen and directed by Osgood Perkins, based upon a short story by Stephen King. Here's the IMDb plotline. As we know, IMDb always 100% correct in everything they say and or do. When twin brothers Bill and Hal find their father's old monkey in the toy attic, a series of gruesome deaths start. The siblings decide to throw away the toy and move on with their lives, growing apart over the years. All right, so let's talk about some of the things I do like about this movie. Number one is going to be design of the titular monkey here, man. It looks so good, very iconic, just kind of symmetrical and everything. He's got very cool functions and whatnot. When you twist the key on his back and everything, the lips open up to show these like teeth and whatnot. Instead of the old cymbals that you see in a lot of these monkeys things, this one has drums, and he's got little drumsticks in his hands and whatnot. What's cool is, again, really neat design of this. He holds the drumstick up, it spins in his hand, and then once the drum actually hits down and everything, that's when a death occurs. So this is a little bit like The Monkey's Paw meets The Box and stuff like that, and I wonder if Stephen King knows who Richard Matheson is. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? Again, like the idea of The Box, when you just hit that button, a random person dies. I guess the monkey kind of decides. They sort of figure that out of like, you know, we're not sure exactly how this works or anything. And that's also part of the problem of this movie is that you don't really know how anything works. But one of the things that does work really well is the tension. The monkey is scary looking. They do the sound design fantastic, so whenever the monkey is on screen and he's just kind of sitting there, you're waiting for him to come alive. And that's the best part, is that he doesn't. That's not a spoiler alert or anything. This isn't going to come alive and start eating people. I want you to know that right away. But that's a good thing. One of the things I found interesting about this movie and the fact that I don't really love it overall is one of the things that I can say about it is, man, I had a lot of tension going on. My hands were in my pockets most of the time. I was just kind of like, ooh, what's going on here? And that's pretty good. When a movie that's overall not really hitting you can still kind of have those tension moments in there and everything, it shows you that, you know, Osgood Perkins does know what he's doing. I gotta be honest with you. For whatever reason, I thought Osgood Perkins was not American. I thought he was from some, like, you know, Eastern European bloc country or something like that. And that's why between Longlegs and this, that his stuff just didn't quite translate all the way. Well, come to find out, Osgood Perkins was born in New York City, so he's American. I am blown away because that's one of the biggest problems that I've seen within this movie and within Longlegs, is characters don't act like human beings do in the world that we live in. Now, that's fine for a lot of different horror movies if indeed you build the world for those characters to be in. This movie doesn't feel like the world's been constructed. It feels like we've thrown characters in there, we've given them an idea and stuff, but they're not quite sure how to execute everything. Theo James does a great job as kind of a dual performance of twin brothers here and everything. It never feels corny or out of place or anything. And it doesn't feel like he's playing one twin up and one twin down or anything. He's playing them pretty straightforward. There's enough of art design between the two of them that you do feel like you're looking at two people. So props to you, Theo James. You're probably one of the MVPs of this movie. Another MVP that's mostly good throughout all this, and again, I'm not going to blame her for the weird things that happen, but Tatiana Maslany, who was in She-Hulk and everything, most notably and whatnot, she plays the mom when these twins are younger and everything. But I don't know what weird Tim Burton mom she's kind of playing when they go to a funeral there and whatnot. It's a very kind of Tim Burton, as she looks like Helena Bonham Carter, to be quite frank. It feels like they designed her to kind of look like that and everything, while she's talking to her twin sons about death and all this kind of stuff. I don't know who that mom is, but then there's, you know, she's in other spots within the movie and she seems like an actual mother who kind of mostly cares about her kids, but I'm sorry, you can't care about your kids, your twin children, when one of them is an absolute asshole to the other one. And that's one of my biggest problems with this film, is that none of the characters are likable. When they're younger, the older brother is like the biggest piece of garbage you've ever seen in your entire life. I can't relate to any of this. I had a fantastic relationship with my siblings and my parents and everything, so I don't carry any of that baggage. but I think Stephen King hates his family so much, dude. I don't know what it is about the writing in his movies, but these characters are fucking jerks. They hate each other, and thus you hate them. They're kind of bad. I don't really feel sympathy or empathy for anyone in this movie. The main good twin, as I'll call him, is a complete piece of garbage. He knows that like there's this crazy monkey doll floating out in the universe here for the past 25 years, so he has cordoned off every single person in his life, including his own son, just so the fact that this monkey might not come back and kill everybody one day. It's ludicrous thinking that makes absolutely no sense. At some point, you would have figured he would have just started getting on with his life, but it's an excuse for him to be a piece of garbage, but you don't empathize with him at all because he's a jerk. So that's one of the biggest problems with this, is that when death and destruction and all of these things happen in this movie, you don't care because you don't care about any of the people. You want to see them succeed, you want to see them get from point A to point B, but you don't care if they actually get there because you don't care about these characters. A lot of interesting and unique and kind of cool kills and stuff in this, nothing super to write home about, but the biggest problem that I have with it is that all the people getting killed, you don't feel like the majority of them actually deserved it. Now, think back at Terrifier 3. One of the cool parts about Terrifier 3 is that when it starts out and everything, you don't care who Art the Clown is actually killing. Be it the Santa Claus and in Clint Howard there at the bar and everything. When those two get murdered, you don't care because you've been shown that these two are scummy people. So when they die, no big whoop. All right, so light spoilers from here on out. I'm not going to say too much awful specific and everything, but I do want to talk about why this movie ultimately doesn't work for me. And that's because the brothers are terrible. They're horrible people. They hate each other. Ultimately, the crux of this movie is brotherly hate. Instead of actually talking, instead of actually communicating with someone, you just take your blind passion and hatred for someone and just put it, and put it at their door 24/7, 365. Because what? You're angry? And then when you're confronted with the logic of your anger, you go, oh, yeah, it's kind of stupid for me to be angry about that, isn't it? Yeah, it is. And that means the entire story is stupid. And that's why ultimately this movie just really falls short for me. For all the neat little stuff that's in there, some cool kills, some okay action and stuff. I like the idea that the monkey just kind of keeps coming back no matter what you do to it and stuff. And it's kind of like that thing that just shows up there and is kind of, scratching at the door, so to speak, and whatnot. I think that element's really cool. The design of it is cool. It is something that by the end of it, you can kind of see this story going on and them doing more with the monkey, if indeed they choose to do so, which I think they could and should do, but they need to be able to develop it properly to get the right balance of character and stuff in there. This needs to feel more like a Final Destination, and it feels like there are elements of that in this because some of the deaths do come about in Rube Goldberg-esque kind of machines or, whatnot. So that kind of stuff could and should work with something like this, but I don't know that Osgood Perkins is the guy to really try to grasp a hold of whatever the tone should be for this movie, because it just doesn't work here. It doesn't belong in any reality that we live in, but you can make that reality and make me believe that reality exists, but this movie doesn't do that. I don't know if that makes sense to you. Again, I don't want to try to explain too many ins and outs of this movie because I think one of the good things is knowing as little as you do about it. Ultimately, though, this is better for me than Longlegs was, but I am still not a huge giant fan and everything. I think if you liked Longlegs, if that was right up your alley, you're really going to love this movie as well. But if Longlegs didn't do it for you, I can't tell you that the monkey's going to be all that much different. Alrighty, that is my review for Osgood Perkins' The Monkey. I think I'm going to go 3 out of 5 stars on this one. It's fine for what it is. I liked it more than Longlegs, but that's not saying a whole bunch for me. That is it for my review of The Monkey, the new movie by Osgood Perkins, out in theaters February 21st. Did you get a chance to see this movie? Are you looking forward to it at all? Be a dirty baby and leave a comment for your mother down below, and we'll see you next time. ultimately, that's kind of what this is. It's, say, hey, monkey, do you want to kill some? What the fuck is going on here? Is that dirt? Holy shit. All right. What was I saying?